Hey everybody, it's Chris Eads, better known online as Wootini, here with another Gay Gamer video podcast. You like my shirt? I got it on sale at Target because they had all their summer stuff, like all the Pride shirts were on sale for like $4 a piece, so I like the 70s-ness of this. So I'll wear it next year, but it's year-round is good. I want to start this week with a book review. Which is funny because I don't think I've ever done a book review before. TV, movies, games, never books. But last weekend at FlameCon, I picked up, on a recommendation from my friend Cam, The Cardboard Kingdom, which is a graphic novel from artist Chad Sell, who you might recall from his fabulous Drag Race portraits that he does of all the contestants. And it's an absolutely delightful book. It's a collection of short stories written by various artists and all illustrated by Chad, featuring a bunch of children in a neighborhood who make costumes and props and sets out of cardboard, and they have adventures as their characters. And it's this mix of reality and fantasy, and it's very inclusive, and it's just heartwarming and wonderful, and I highly recommend it. Great book. Great book. So, very highly recommended for that one. And as far as gaming goes, I have a topic that I want to discuss this week, which is that I can't wake up my PlayStation 4 anymore. Basically, I noticed over the past week or so, I forget when it exactly started, but I sat down to play No Man's Sky, obviously. And I pushed the PS button on my remote, on my controller, and the PlayStation wouldn't boot up. The little blue light came on, it started blinking, it never turned white. It just kept blinking blue. And so I had to hold down the power button to shut it down, and then boot it back up again, and it gives you it does the whole like checking the hard drive thing, and then it gives you the warning screen where it's like, hey, you didn't shut down correctly, what the F? Don't turn it off when it's blinking. And I'm like, well, what am I supposed to do? It just wouldn't stop blinking, so I can't do anything else but shut it off. And unfortunately that happened, like, after that happened like more than a few times, I had no choice but to turn it off completely, because I can't put my PlayStation 4 to sleep because it won't wake up again. And unfortunately, I looked online for solutions, and they're like, oh, you know, it could be your power source, so like unplug it, check it, make sure there's nothing wrong with it, plug it back in and see. The power source, I'm sure, is fine. It can also be the hard drive. They're like, take out your hard drive, put it back in, maybe replace it with a different hard drive. I'm like, I don't think there's anything wrong with my hard drive. The hard drive seems to be fine. I've had no problems with saves. And the third possibility, because of course there's multiple possibilities, it can't just be, oh, just do this and it'll be fixed. Ta-da! No. The other possibility is the connection to your television, which is what I think it is, because twice while trying to boot up my PlayStation, I had like super glitchy, like green pixel blob crap all over my screen with like a little PS logo in the corner, or center. So I'm feeling like there's something in the HDMI cable, but I don't think that there's anything wrong with the HDMI cable. Like if I swap out HDMI cables, maybe suddenly it'll work again. I don't think so, because one of the solutions that Sony suggested was like update the firmware on your television. Unfortunately, my TV does not allow me to check for a firmware update or make it update the firmware. It just updates when there's an update. And I'm like, not good. So, and because it's an older TV, we've had it for a few years, I don't think it's going to get any firmware updates, which sucks. But I just don't feel like it's going to update. I can't remember the last time it updated, because it does it while the TV is off. So you get up the next morning, you turn on the TV, and there's a little pop-up that comes on that's like, hey, we updated your firmware, just FYI. Because they do it while the TV is off and you're sleeping, so as not to, you know, interrupt your viewing. But I do think that it's the TV in this case because of the glitchy graphics that I saw a couple of times, and the fact that the Hulu app on our TV is acting funky. My husband likes to watch stuff on Hulu, and he's had problems where a show that he was watching, he tried to watch it, and it would immediately shut down the app and say, we've lost connection, which, no, you have not. And in fact, the Hulu app works on my tablet over the Wi-Fi, it works on the PlayStation over the Wi-Fi, and I got it to work on the Blu-ray player over the Wi-Fi, but the TV app, it will only play certain shows. Like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, started, played fine. The Goldbergs, it got the ABC logo and it shut off immediately. I don't know why this is. So, and you can't, again, you can't force an update of the Hulu app because the TV won't let me do that. I'm sure newer smart TVs, you can do all kinds of stuff. This one, not so much. So, thankfully we have other devices so that he can watch Hulu on. But this is why I think that it's something in the connection to the TV that is causing the PlayStation to not be able to go to sleep and then wake up correctly. I don't know. But obviously I don't want to keep having to shut it off and then have to sit through the hard drive check and then the warning of you shouldn't shut it off. I did leave it blinking one time for a long time to see what would happen, and it did eventually just shut itself off, but that took a while. So it's, you know, it's easier right now to just shut the PlayStation down entirely and not put it into rest mode at all, and just shut it down. The only problem is then you have to wait for it to boot up, and then you have to reload your game, which is like super old school. Because remember, back in the day when you had to actually boot up your console and load your game, and it took a long time. Because now, all the systems, you can put them into rest mode. So then you can just wake it up, and in seconds, you're back playing your game again. And it's amazing, and now we're spoiled with that. And the fact that I can't do that with my PlayStation is kind of killing me. It feels like it takes like an hour. But I did actually time it, and it was actually only about 45 seconds to boot up the PlayStation and get to the main screen, the menu. It was another couple of minutes to get No Man's Sky loading to the point where I could actually start playing it. That was another 2 minutes, but, you know, it's only 45 seconds to boot up a PlayStation, which is a lot less than I thought. It feels like a lot longer than that. But the really frustrating thing is to not be able to just jump right back in. And also, I have to make sure that I save my game every time before I shut it off. Because you can't just say, oh, well, I'll just put it to sleep and then I'll just jump right back in. You know, because I can't. I have to make sure it's saved because I'm shutting it down. And that's super annoying. Although, being an old school gamer, I am used to always saving before you shut off. So I do that instinctively. So, it's super frustrating. It's going to get more frustrating, I fear. Because with No Man's Sky, it's fine, because every time you exit your starship, it creates this autosave for you. So even if you don't have a save point to manually save, all you've got to do is land your ship and jump out, and there's a save so that you can shut the PlayStation down, and that's going to be your save when you start it up again. The problem is that in 2 weeks, SpiderMan is coming out for the PlayStation 4, and I don't know what the save game scheme is going to be in that. And I'm pretty sure there will be autosaves, I'm sure, but I'm sure, like, when you're on a mission, like, you have to finish the mission in order to save your game. You're not going to be able to just... I won't be able to be like, oh, I'm in the middle of this mission, but it's time for dinner. I'll just put my PlayStation to sleep and pick it up later. I won't be able to do that. So I would have to shut it down and then basically turn it back on again and then see where the last time it autosaved was. So that's going to be super frustrating, but I have decided to get Spider-Man. I don't remember if I've mentioned that in this podcast before. I am waiting on Dragon Quest for the Switch version, which I'm praying will be early 2019. We shall see. I believe Square Enix is preparing to show footage and stuff from the Switch version. I mean, if the Switch version is like super borked and it's going to take like a year for it to come out, then no. I will get it on the PlayStation 4 eventually. But I'm going to use SpiderMan to bide my time. Because I need to stop playing No Man's Sky all the time. I play it so much. I'm like obsessed. And I love taking all my pretty pictures and sharing them online. I had one recently that did like really, really well. I was very proud of it. And I don't usually get a lot of retweets and likes, but this one, everyone liked it. Yay, me. So, you can follow me on Twitter at WootiniGG if you would like to see my No Man's Sky pictures, because I am obsessed with taking pictures of No Man's Sky while I'm exploring. And so if you have any suggestions or thoughts on how I might be able to fix my PlayStation, I am pretty sure it's the TV. I have not checked the hard drive to remove it or whatever, and I have not swapped in my PS3 power strip to the PS4, because I read that they take the same power strip cord so that you can use the same power supply. I haven't tried swapping in a different power supply because I'm pretty sure that's not going to change anything, and it'll just annoy me and be obnoxious, and then I'll have done all that effort for nothing, like going behind everything in the TV and the entertainment center and stuff. So I'm like pretty sure it's the TV, but if you have any suggestions on how I might easily be able to try some things to see if I can fix it and get my PlayStation to wake up again, because I also thought it might be something with No Man's Sky, and so I quit No Man's Sky and from just the plain menu put it to sleep, and it still wouldn't wake up again. So it's not the game, it's the system. And I think it's the TV. But if you have any suggestions on maybe an easy way to try something that might fix my PlayStation, that'd be swell. Please put them in the comments. I would greatly appreciate it. So I will talk to you again next week, and I have another topic for then. Bye!